That, my friends, is definitely not a perch.
Hi there, addicts. Before we start discussing the rod, I wanna thank all the new subscribers that came in the past few weeks. That's awesome, and I also wanna encourage the rest of you, because 90% of you aren't subscribed. If you could do that, please push that button. It's not that hard, it doesn't cost you anything, and it would help me a lot. Come on, I know you want it. I see, yeah, just go, yeah, nice, great job, guys. So the Gamakatsu Hana series is probably one of the most exciting rod lineups that came out in the past 10 years maybe, but I'm talking only about the jig now. Let's start with the things I don't like about this rod. It is one of the best looking sleeves I've seen on the market, and that's basically everything that's good about it. It's practically useless. It is a one section sleeve. When you're transporting your wide and ultra wide rods, you want them to be as calm and still as possible. You don't want the sections banging on each other. You don't want them somewhere rolling in your car, and this is not good for that. So sleeve, I don't like it at all, but it looks nice. Second thing, it comes with these two Velcro stickers. I don't know what's more dangerous, transporting your rod in your car just on the back seat, or taking off these stickers. Take one from the bottom where the rod is thicker. It's okay, it's not that dangerous, but when you're trying to take it off this top section where the tip is, man, I'm afraid to break my rod every time I do that. So I'm not a fan of these stickers too. And the third thing is the handle. After a while, the paint gets off the handle. It's painted in black, and that's the whole thing. It is painted. It's not the natural color of the plastic. It gets scratched and the paint goes off. Even though it's made from plastic, the whole piece of it, it's very, very comfortable. It sits in your hand very well. You can fish all day with it. You don't get tired or anything. You don't feel these grooves on your wrist. And you know that it is made in Japan when you have something this well built in your hands. Now, all the rest about this rod is just fantastic. And I'm not stressing this. I bought this rod for my own money. No one's paying me to say these things. I did not try it with 1 gram or less, because I think that is useless. And if you're fishing with those weights, you kind of need to aim for an ultra wide or even extra ultra wide rods. All the tests I did was done in the current. It's between 2 and 3.5 meters deep in this pot. The current was pretty high that day. The wind was high too, and I'm using 0.4 PE line, and it's very, very good line. I started my test from 2 grams. For those who like to follow the rod tip to know when you have a contact with the bottom, or to know when the fish is trying to take your bait, 2 grams doesn't have enough load on the tip, so you won't see that. You can feel it in your hand, you can feel the contact with the bottom, but it's very minimal and you need really good conditions. So I don't recommend it using on a daily basis, only when you really, really need it and you have no other options with you. 3 grams is when the tip starts to respond and you get a really good contact with the bottom in your hand. Again, you need good conditions and harder bottom, but the 3 grams is that minimal limit when the rod is useful for its purpose. And with the 3 grams, you can really start casting your bait. It goes far enough. Now 4 to about 8 grams is that sweet spot for this rod, plus about 1.5 to 3 inches silicone bait. It responds perfectly. You can feel everything on the bottom. As I said, I was fishing in a strong current with a decent amount of wind, and it was about 3.5 meters deep at the long distance, and I could count every small rock on the bottom when my bait hit the bottom, and I was doing that with 4 grams. 5 grams, same story. 6 grams, same story.
That, my friends, is definitely not a perch. What the hell is it? Pew, 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 pew.
And it goes all the way up. And this is one of the reasons why this rod lineup is so popular and so desired. These rods, in the spectrum of its weight, minus the little error Japanese made with the bottom weight, they do perform almost identical in the whole spectrum. If you're trying a simple jig to handle spins and a stop, one handle and a stop, you do the spins, the rod tip bends a little bit and it comes back straight up, and it's automatic. I mean, this rod is super responsive and it's super sensitive. If you saw my last video, you could see how this rod performs with the perch of a size about 200, 300 up to 400 grams. If you didn't, I'll leave the link right here. And in this video, I wanted to include a few bigger fish to see how it deals with those. And I can say it didn't disappoint at all. The rod did a really good job dealing with those fish. And it's not really designed for the fish of this size, but it brings a lot of pleasure when you catch a bonus fish like that. What's unusual with this rod? The bottom part has 2 guides on it. We used to see this guide on the top part of the rod, but somehow they came up with idea to put it here. I don't feel any difference for that. There are all torsite inserts with the titanium guides. All this super minimal design makes this rod so incredible light. This and that fact that it's made from 99.9% carbon makes this rod so sensitive. And you want to pair it with a decent reel too. I've paired it with my DAIWA Exist. You don't want to mess this beauty and this good of a rod with some mediocre reel. That would be a disaster and a crime. The tip is solid, of course, and it's an extra fast raw tip, but also this rod deals with the fish very good. That means when you hook up the fish, the whole rod comes alive and the whole body starts working on it. And again, not all the manufacturers can do that, even with the highest end rods. That is pretty rare. After all that's been said, it's really a perfect rod. If Gamakatsu approached me and said, listen, We can improve this rod any way you want. Tell us what to do. And I couldn't give them any reasonable suggestions. This rod is amazing as it is. I know that Gamakatsu came out with a new lineup this year. This is a thing of the past already. I have no info about those rods so far. I've seen some Japanese testing them, but all the info is in Japanese and I do not understand it. I hope that they haven't changed the blank, because that is the heart of the rod. I saw that the visual changed a little bit, they updated the handle, and that's basically everything I know about the rod. If the blank is practically the same, again, it will be an amazing rod. If you had tried any of those new rods, let me know in the comments below. Also, if you had any experience with this rod or any rod from that Gamakatsu lineup, leave me a comment. If you have any questions for me, don't be shy, ask. I'll try to respond as soon as I can. If you're on that edge of deciding to buy this rod or any other Gamakatsu LUXXE Hana series rods, I highly suggest you do that, because these rods is very hard to get your hands on, and when you do, you never want to let go. I have 5 high-end rods. They're all for different purposes, but this one is by far my favorite one. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to press all the necessary buttons, and I'll see you soon. Peace! When I start talking to the camera, my dog always comes and he starts scratching, licking his balls, looking where to get his ass. What? Sit down. Sit down, lay down, be quiet.